Hello, Cheryl.
Hey, Kim.
How you doing?
Great.
Good.
Sunny day in Canada.
Yeah, well, we've got a rainy one in Oregon, so I'm so delighted to be talking with you from far away and be able
Yes.
to talk about one of our favorite subjects this morning. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Jade egg.
Jade Egg.
practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking last week and decided that we really wanted to address some stuff that's come up in the news, in the media.
Yeah. So a few months back, Jade Egg started showing up in the mainstream, and we saw it on late night TV, and we've seen it. I've been told about it on one of the housewife shows, and I got nervous at that point when we started talking about it in mainstream like that we would lose the potency of the practice and it would become some kind of sex crazed, out of integrity, kind of practice instead of the depth of what you and I know it to be.
I agree. Because the way that we coach people in sessions and workshops is there's so much reverence and meditation and breath work and dropping
Right.
into that feminineness. It's not just about the egg.
Yeah, yeah. And in fact, much of the practice that we do with the egg, you could do without the egg, like most of
Right.
it, like all of it. Yeah,
Exactly.
like all of it. And so now there's been a new article that's come out that is made some faulty claims about some supposed things that could happen by using jade egg that are, by all of my investigation, just faulty. And it makes me really sad that it came from a single OBGYN doctor who's come out to say there's some possibilities of these things happening. And so I wanted today, you and I, to go over some of the possibilities she's talking about and why that it's not accurate.
Right. We want to dispel some of the inaccurate information. And it all started with Gwyneth Paltrow talking about Jade Egg on her website. And then OBGYN came in and said, no, you can, all of these things can happen. So we just want to, for all of our students and clients, dispel some of the misinformation, provide some clarity, and remind everybody what the truth of this practice is and what it encompasses.
Yep. So jade egg is a practice where you use a jade stone inside your vagina. You probably have one you can show us, probably closer than me. There we go. There's one of our eggs. And you use it inside your vagina as a tool to help connect, feel, understand, learn your inner landscape, and be in a direct relationship with your own inner landscape in a way that we don't often have an opportunity to do. So it's really it's kind of a new approach. But it's an ancient approach. It's not new at all. This is an ancient practice.
Thousands of years old. That was the practice.
Right, thousands of years old. So it's been around a long time, and I'm not buying the claims. So claim number one was that there was a possibility, and the author of the article said it could cause toxic shock syndrome.
Toxic shock syndrome, yes.
Right.
And what we found is there was actually a study done in Yale that found that when the companies began changing from cotton to synthetic fibers to absorb menstrual blood, that's when there could be the incidence of toxic shock. And we know that there's never, ever been a reported case of a jade egg practice properly and hygienically done where there's toxic shock.
Yeah. And it's that absorption because it's a bacteria. And it was fascinating for me to learn that men and children get toxic shock syndrome. It's not specific to women, and that even the toxic shock through the highly absorbent tampons is a possibility, but it's because of the amount of bacteria and that synthetic that holds, and that I was reading an article this morning that talked about the tampons that were really the culprit were the ones that were designed so that you could wear them for up to 8 hours, and you could hold, and it would absorb, and the blood wouldn't leak through. And so that kind of hold on to that bacteria and hold on to that blood like that is like a hotbed for that. But the egg does not do that. It doesn't absorb anything, and it doesn't hold on. And so there is no way that it can begin to create those bacteria. And what was most perplexing to me is that there's not a single case. So it was such an assumption.
And we know that when you buy a proper, authentic jade egg, so that's one of the things. There's a lot of people that are selling jade eggs out there just to make money.
Yeah.
We sell jade eggs with a class.
Yeah.
With a coaching session.
Right.
So we don't just sell them willy-nilly on a website and make money. We're doing it as part of this amazing women's awakening practice.
Right.
But I've got the company that we buy our eggs from. I mean, they say that genuine Nefertiti jade, did I just say that right?
Nephrite.
Nephrite, sorry. Nephrite jade is harder and heavier than fake jade stones, and harder and heavier than steel. So everything has some porous nature to it. Mm-hmm. But what we really teach people, Kim and I, is the proper hygiene. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you're never, and you can string your egg with floss, and you never reuse the healthy floss, and so on. So the density and the porosity isn't there. I mean, it is it's safer. Silicone is more porous than jade egg, and people use silicone for sex toys.
Right.
Condoms are more porous.
Right.
Than a jade egg.
Right. And I want to say something about the string too. So you can find lower quality eggs. They're not jade and they're not pure, but you can find lower quality eggs that are just used as a sex toy. You can get them online. You can see them in different places. And they actually have a plastic string that is attached with a little grommet. And I always say, whoa, those grommets, that plastic string, that is bacteria. That's bacteria land. But the dental floss, so having an egg with a hole in it where you floss it, you put dental floss through it every time. And so then that floss doesn't get reused. That floss gets changed each time. So again, the porous part doesn't get put back in. Now there's another interesting point about that, the string though. And that is, I found this fascinating, IUDs, which can be in for up to 10 years and have a string, and you've got a string in your vagina for 10 years, and there isn't any toxic shock that's coming from that, and it's because it doesn't make sense.
No reported case.
Yeah. So, and I want to talk about the string for a minute too. There was another question that came up from one of the women that talked about to use a string or not to use a string. You can get eggs with holes or not with holes. And that's really a super, super personal choice because women feel different about their vaginas. And in the beginning, when you're new at it, I really encourage people to start with a string. Yes. Start with the string. Make sure your yoni feels comfortable in releasing the egg and in taking the egg in. There is a possibility if you had a super tipped vagina, it could get pretty up in there and behind your cervix. It'll never get stuck. It'll never get lodged. It never gets lost. But it can get a little out of reach and get a little nerve-wracking.
Well, and that's the first question that people ask me. The very first question is, am I going to lose the egg?
Yeah.
So the comfort level of stringing the egg is amazing. So it gives you that comfort. However, we know that it's an enclosed area and the egg will never disappear and get lost in your body. We know that for sure. Even with a hysterectomy.
Right. Even with a hysterectomy.
Yeah.
So
the other piece, number 2.
Faulty claim number 2.
Yes.
That using the jade egg and wearing it around during the day or wearing it when you sleep, if that's something that you want to do, or using it at all, causes and increases pelvic tension. And pelvic tension is a bad thing. It throws off your alignment. It causes pain in sex. There's a lot of things about pelvic tension that are not good. And this claimed that holding on to the egg, clenching the egg, was going to cause pelvic tension.
Right, because we're hanging on to it all day.
Yeah. No.
As a matter of fact, a lot of people that use jade egg or start to embark on a jade egg practice have too much tension. Mm-hmm. And most of us, and we know both of us from teaching yoga, how we grip inside and how there is so much tension. So the jade egg can actually do the opposite and help to relieve some of the tension.
Right.
So we do some isometric exercises and some exercises that can help, but each case is individual as well. So when we work with somebody, we ask them some questions. What's going on? So we specifically tailor the practice to, right?
Right.
And do you pee a little bit when you sneeze?
Yeah.
Do you have restricted urination? You know, what's your experience been post-birth? Post-childbirth.
Right.
So those are the things we address and then come up with a plan accordingly.
Right, right. The other part that I love is when I teach a class, and I do it in large groups with women, and we're on a yoga mat using our eggs for maybe 45 minutes or so. And of that 45 minutes, 5 minutes are the isometric strength building exercises, and 40 minutes are release, surrender, relax, blend, let the egg do the work. It is such a opening and releasing. It's not a clinching. So when this doctor said you're walking around in clinch holding on, I knew she had not been trained. I knew she didn't know what it is we're teaching about how to use the eggs.
Right. And the thing about the yoni, our vagina, our womb spaces, is that if our body doesn't want the egg, then it'll spit it out.
Yeah. Right.
So you couldn't, if your body didn't want it, you couldn't hold it in if you tried.
Yeah.
Really.
Right.
And to that, what did I want to I forgot what I was going to say. I don't know.
Okay, great. So that was our faulty claim number 2. And faulty claim number 3 is that the uterus, vulva, vagina, uterus are not intuition repositories, nor are they a source of power or wisdom.
Yeah. That one, we love that one, don't we?
We love that one.
Yeah. So we're going to dispel that one.
Yeah.
So that we know that's such a big part of the Jade Egg practice. Again, the Jade Egg itself is such a small part of a so-called Jade Egg practice, but we're tapping in and creating sensate awareness. And we know that energetically we're starting to shift things in the body, starting from the womb space. And we know that our wisdom we're tapping into that with the Jade Egg practice. But I know you've got some good pieces to add to that.
Yeah, so the wisdom that we carry. Yeah.
I just wanted to add, I think the biggest piece that we know from our practice is that you can only know personally what shifts for you with the practice. And we hear the testimonials from our clients and students. So we know that that's not true. There is wisdom that we tap into with the Jade Egg practice.
Yeah. And so then the claim was that, so does that mean a woman who's had a hysterectomy or she's had her ovaries removed for whatever reason, now she no longer has her wisdom center, she no longer has her intuition center? That's absolutely not part of our practice and our teaching. Part of our teaching is that wisdom is in that region regardless of the organs. And part of what that means, and part of that wisdom piece, is wisdom isn't in one location. Wisdom is when all of our locations are working together and in harmony. And one of the things that we know has happened to the feminine intuition and the wisdom that we carry is for eons through oppression of the feminine, through domination of the feminine, through second-class citizenship of the feminine, that we have gotten really separated from that part of our wisdom. And one of the things that we're doing now is reclaiming the full embodiment of ourselves. And it's the full embodiment. So does the egg give you wisdom? No. Does it give us an opportunity to drop in, connect to our whole self? Yes. And that's, again, where use the egg or not, these practices are about connecting to a part of ourselves that has been super, super put in the closet, shamed, made wrong, disconnected from. I have client after client after client, and I've done this now with hundreds of women who talk about having light bulbs go off, like suddenly, like epiphanies about themselves and their world and what they want and who they are. I've watched women change careers because what they really do is get dropped into their truth about what they're most inspired about, or where their gifts are. So there is an inherent wisdom. And when you think about what a uterus does in creating a life, that it can make a baby, there is some wisdom going on in there.
Innate, incredible wisdom.
Yeah.
And, we're teaching women to listen more deeply to their bodies because we've been traumatized in that area.
Yeah.
And so we start to listen, we start to feel more. And I too have had many clients and students who've said when they're making a major decision, a big business decision, that's when they will go into meditation and tap in using their Jade Egg practice as a way to do that.
Absolutely.
And again, egg, no egg. But the egg we do know, and we we do know. And I think some studies are going to start to be done by some people that we know that are going to prove that. But we're gathering testimonials. We've had experience and practice. And the whole reason that I started offering this after learning with you and you being my coaching guide is that I knew from my own experience. So you and I both teach from our own wisdom and experience. And that's where we come from that sacred place, because some people have used the word snake oil. This is not. This is a legitimate, many thousands of years Taoist practice that we've now brought into North America really only in the last 30 years.
Yeah. And the snake oil part, I also want to speak to. I don't see either one of us or the other people who I see working in this field in this way, in our conscious sacred sexuality way, as making these false claims of the egg is going to heal everything. It's going to take away your everything. It's going to make everything better. It's never that. This is a yoga practice. This is very much an internal, connected, energetic practice. I call it yoni yoga. I really feel like in the classes that I run, when the women are here doing their eggs together, it feels like a yoga class. We have our eggs in, and I'm having us connect and drop in deeply with the energy of that system.
And so what I love is that we've heard the term before, there's no such thing as bad press. So what I love about the misinformation that's been flooding social media and articles and so on online is that, yay, let's open this up. Let's talk about, let's answer some of the questions right now for anyone that's interested in starting or anyone that's been reading this. So I love it. It opens it up for us to have this beautiful dialogue, dispel the misinformation, and even let people see who we are. And get an idea and a sense of our energy and our sacredness and our integrity around this practice.
Yeah. Well said. Excellent. Woo! Thank you so much. So there's so much more to say about the egg. We wanted this video to be specifically in response to the article and to support Sister Gwyneth. Go, Gwyneth. Don't let the detractors take away. Yeah. Beautiful. All right, darling. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone who spent the time with us today. We hope you connect with us if you have any more questions. And Kim, they can reach you where?
They can reach me at kimrosekeller.com and leave messages below. We'll be watching messages. We'll be answering messages, questions. And you?
And you can reach me at cherylhebert.com. And my last name has a bit of a weird spelling. So it's CHERYLHIEBERT.com. But we'll put a little note between so you can read this. But we'll be watching this, and
great.
Keep it real, ladies.
Thank you, darling.
We love you.
Bye.